Whew, man. So another another chapter, no pun intended, in the Strangers franchise that they're building up that falls short. And once again, I'm not surprised. Now, welcome back to my channel, guys. If you're new here, my name's Craig, otherwise known as All Nerd Everything, where I discuss your favorite topics from film, TV, comic books, anime, and among other nerdy things in the community. And I did a double feature over the weekend, which I talked about in my previous film. And the two films I went to see over the weekend was another battle, one battle after another, which was magnificent. And this film that I'm talking about, that I'm going to discuss right now, and that is Strangers Chapter 2. I didn't even see Chapter 1 in theaters. I don't even remember how I saw the film, but it was extremely boring, and it actually ended up on one of my worst films of the 2024 list. And after that movie bombed and was panned by critics and audience, they pushed Chapter 2 back because Chapter 1 and Chapter 2 was supposed to come out simultaneously, like in like separate months. Chapter 1 was supposed to come out when Chapter 1 was released. Chapter 2 was scheduled to come out like a month later or like 2 months later or something like that. But it was supposed to come out in the same year, and after it did so poorly with pretty much everyone that watched the film, they pushed Chapter 2 back to this year, and I just totally forgot about this film until I saw a trailer about the film from other films that I was going to see at the time, whether it was Superman or Fantastic Four First Steps or Weapons. This this film would play. They would play like a sneak peek trailer of this film, and I'd be like, "Oh, that's still coming out." And I know I'm not the only one that has possibly forgotten that this film was going to come out because I didn't care about the first one. Now, the very first original Strangers, I don't love it as much as everyone else does. I thought it was just okay. Strangers Pray at Night, or whatever that one's called, I still haven't seen that. I have to add that to my list to watch that. But Chapter 1 was so incredibly boring, and it ends on a cliffhanger. And Madeline Pesh, I believe that's how you pronounce her first name, Madeline Pesh from Riverdale. She was in the Strangers first chapter of the Strangers, and she's supposedly left for dead. And in this film, she wakes up in the hospital recovering from her wounds after almost being, killed by the Strangers. And the best way I can describe this movie is the whole movie is essentially just a cat and mouse game, which is cool at first, but I mean, you could tell that they were just padding out the runtime with just a whole bunch of ridiculous stuff. I mean, the pacing is just incredibly bad. I'm not a fan of the pacing, and this movie is an hour, and it's a little over 90 minutes, and it's the longest 90 minutes I've I've ever felt. I mean, I went to see one battle after another right after this film, and yet I had a better time with one battle after another, which I wasn't surprised by because it's Leonardo DiCaprio and Paul Thomas Anderson. But why did Strangers Chapter 2 feel like a longer film than one battle after another? After I was done with Strangers Chapter 2, I was like, finally. But with one battle after another, I wanted more, which is always a good sign. But Strangers Chapter 2, it's all over the place. I mean, what is with this unpacking of who the strangers are? I've said it before and I'm gonna say it again. I don't give a shit. I don't care who they are. I don't want to know who the strangers are. I don't want to know their backstory. Like Scream said in, like, I'm sorry, like Billy said in Scream, it's scarier when there is no motive. And even though that sounds psychotic, that is absolutely true. And the thing about the strangers is that it could have been anybody in that cabin and the same thing would have happened. That's what makes it terrifying. That's what makes it scary. It could have been anybody, but they were just at the wrong place at the wrong time. But trying to do this whole, you know, the whole movie is just flashbacks and exposition dumping on the strangers, and it's essentially force feeding you all these details that nobody asked for or nobody wanted. And I even heard, I don't even know if this is true or not, that the audience wanted that, the test audience wanted that put in the film. And if that is true, I'm sorry, but not listening to that could have been the best thing that could have happened to this film. Madeline Pesh does her best. She's probably the only good thing about this movie, to be honest. The first 20-30 minutes in the hospital where Maya is trying to, escape and, escape and fight off the strangers, that's probably the best part of the movie. After that, it completely goes downhill with a bunch of exposition dumping and unnecessary flashbacks. And I mean, there's a scene involving Madeline Pesh's character Maya where it in broad daylight it seemed like the strangers is going to attack her out of nowhere, but it turns out that it's actually a boar, a wild boar just runs up and attacks her. And it was probably the funniest thing I've seen because I was left baffled. I didn't know what to do. I mean, a wild boar and the CGI on the boar just looks completely ridiculous. I mean, Madeline Pesh pretty much gets Revenant, like Leonardo DiCaprio style, by this wild boar. And I didn't know whether to laugh or to get up and walk out, because at this point I was just like, God, what time is it? Ugh, this is some bullshit. I mean, y'all really padding out the runtime with a wild boar scene, and it felt scenes like this just felt like they were trying to stretch this film out as long as they can. They were trying to get out all the juice from this lemon when all of it is gone. And no spoilers, but once again, this film ends on a cliffhanger, which I'm not excited to see the third one, but for some reason, I am going to see it just to defecate on it verbally. And Madeline Pesh, she deserves way better than this. It seemed like the only actor from Riverdale that has been doing good with their projects is Lily Reinhart, and she is excellent. But Madeline Pesh, I mean, she tries her best with what she is given, but I mean, a lot of the kill scenes in this movie happen off screen. I mean, you only see maybe 2 or 3 kill scenes in this entire movie, and it's just ridiculous. It's not scary. A lot of scenes are actually pretty laughable, to say the least. And I'm not excited about the third one at all. And stop with this unpacking with the strangers. I don't care. I don't think anyone cares, to be honest. And yeah, and when it comes to the hospital scene, I just thought about this, but why is no one else at the hospital? Maya is the only one at the hospital, and there's only like 4 like nurses and doctors there. Like, where are the other patients? Where are the other employees? But even where is the security guards? But I have a good explanation for that. Budget. They couldn't afford them, which makes a lot of sense because this movie is some bull ish, and it looks like it was made for cheap. Um, yeah, this movie gets 2 stars. So yeah, the only thing that saves this movie for me from being god awful is Madeline Pest. She's the only good thing about it. And the hospital scene, the first like 20 minutes or however long the hospital scene was, I enjoyed that, but everything after that is pretty much boring. I mean, you can pretty much end the movie right there and y'all won't miss anything. So yeah, I'm not excited about chapter 3 because I didn't want chapter 2 and I didn't want chapter 1. But let me know what you guys think. Do you think Strangers chapter 2 is worse than chapter 1? Do you think chapter 1 is worse than this? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Until then, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to stay updated with more movie, TV show, and comic book news and reviews.